There are 50% more active listings in Toronto in October of 2023 than there were in October of 2022. Make sure to stay until the end of this video so I can tell you what the driving force behind that is. Hello, everybody. It's Alex Drobin with the Cedarova Inwood team. I help people just like you buy and sell real estate in Toronto. If you get any value from this video whatsoever, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Anything you want me to cover, just put it in the comments as well. Also, if you're thinking about making a move, buying a place, selling a place, click the link underneath this video and we can book a buyer consultation or a seller consultation at your earliest convenience. Now, the way I'm going to go through this video is I'll start off by looking at the average stats that just came in. So for October, then I'll look at the average sale price, total transactions, total new listings, and then we'll go into the average sale price and number of sales of every major home group. So detached, semi-detached, townhouses, and condos. And then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the condo market. There are a few good stats that I've pulled from the Treb CEO, as well as a couple of marketing people. And then I'll kind of go through my experiences from the ground level and the stuff that I've seen over the last couple of months. So let's get right into it. Total residential transactions are actually down 5.8% year over year. So in October of 2022, there were 4,930. In October 2023, there are 4,646. But here's the thing. People forget about the timeline of when the interest rates started going up. So I'll just go through it quickly here. The first time they went up in a long time was June 1st, 2022. So they went up 0.5%. Then they went up again July 13th by 1%, September 7th by 0.75%, and again on October 26th by 0.5%. So the rates already went up a bunch of times, and there was a bit more buyer hesitancy last year as well. So people were nervous. People didn't know how much more they were going to come up. And like I said, more buyer hesitancy, so just less transactions. This year, it's very similar, except for the fact that, the interest rates have already gone up very high, and they've gone up enough times to where everybody is kind of holding off to see what's going to happen, whether or not they'll stay the same, they'll go up again, or they'll come down in the new year. So nobody really knows. That's why the total number of transactions has gone down, and it's actually historically low. Now, the average selling price, however, year over year has gone up 3.5%. So, by the way, on a side note, there's a lot of different ways to decipher these numbers. So this is the way that I'm going to do it. If you have any questions or comments, just put them down in the comments and I can get to them afterwards. Average sale price has gone up 3.5%. It's currently $1.125 million in Toronto. But here's the wildest stat. So the total number of new listings has actually gone up 38% year over year from October of 2022 to October of 2023. And the total number of active listings has gone up 50% year over year, like I mentioned at the top. October of 2022, there were 10,433 active listings. October of 2023, there are 14,397 new listings. So we're talking roughly 4,000 more active listings to choose from in the market. This is what all these buyers were waiting for. Now you have a lot of inventory, but once again, the buyer hesitancy is still there. Let's go into the sales and average price of every major home type, starting with the detached market. So the average detached home in October 2023 sold for $1.718 million, which is actually up 8.2% year over year. So what does this tell me? Last year, there were a lot of sellers that took a little bit of a discount in terms of what they sold their property for because they were also nervous about these rate hikes. They weren't sure whether or not, they were going to continue to go up and, how much that would affect buyers. We've obviously seen that it has affected buyers, but at this point, there are a lot of people that are confident in the detached market and the freehold market in general. So, like I said, up 8.2% year over year. It's currently at $1.718 million for an average detached home in the 416. Just a side note, places that are detached, semi-detached, and general freehold places will always have more interest than the condo market, whether it's a condo townhouse or a condo apartment, just because obviously no maintenance fees and you actually own land. From my personal standpoint and kind of what I'm seeing from the ground level, a lot of my clients that are purchasing detached properties or semis at those higher price points just have more cash on hand. You know, they've moved up in the market, so they've moved up from a condo to a townhouse to a semi, now to a detached. And a lot of them have a lot of equity and have more cash. They don't have to borrow as much money from the bank. They have more cash on hand, so they're not paying as much interest on whatever they're borrowing. Moving on to the semi-detached market, the average price of a semi-detached home in the 416 in October of 2023 is $1.278 million, which is up 4.7% year over year. The average sale price of a townhome in Toronto in October 2023 is $1,017,000, but the number of sales has gone down 11.5%. And the reason for that is because a lot of the people that are looking within that, $900,000 to $1.2 million price point are now able to look at more semi-detached and freehold properties. So it's like I've always said, I think that $900,000 to $1.2 million price point will remain competitive for a long time, because everyone on here knows if you're buying a property for $999,000, you only have to put down roughly $75,000 as a down payment if you qualify, as opposed to going over $1 million where you have to put down 20%, so $200,000. So once again, I'll break this down quickly. Anything that you purchase at $500,000 or less, you just need 5% down, so $25,000. And anything over that $500,000 up to $1 million, you need an additional 10% of the difference of that price. So for a $999,000 property, you need 5% of the 500, which is $25,000, and then 10% of the other 500 or $499,999, which is $50,000. So your down payment ends up being $75,000 for a purchase price of $999,000, as opposed to going over that $1 million mark where your down payment turns into 20%, which is $200,000. So that's why that price point remains pretty consistent and it remains competitive. I'll also be shooting a video about this topic right here, and I'll pick my top 20 places that have sold over the last month and a half that are in and around this price point, and you'll see how competitive it is. In most cases, there are still offer date situations where somebody will price a property aggressively. Say the market suggests that a property is worth $1.1 million. You'll have a lot of people that will still price it aggressively at, say, $899,000 with an offer date, in which case you have the listing period of 1 week, and then every agent that has shown the property will come in with their client's best offer on the following week, which is the offer date situation. So we can get into that after. If you have any questions about that, like I said, let me know. Now, let's talk about the condo market. This one is really interesting, and I think it's part of the driving force behind all of these active listings. And let me tell you why. So the average sale price of a Toronto condo in October of 2023 was $729,000, which is actually down 1.7% from October of 2022. But I don't think these numbers and these stats are indicative of what's actually happening in the Toronto condo market. So let me expand on that a little bit. If we look at October of 2022, the total number of active condo listings in Toronto were 3,131. And in October of 2023, this year, right now, there are 4,825 new listings. So we're looking at 1,700 more active condo listings this year than there were last year. There's so much more supply, right? Supply and demand. The thing is, though, a lot of people who have listed these properties and a bunch of these sellers aren't really taking in what's happening in the market and just how much these interest rates have affected the buyer. So, places that were going for $600,000 are now going in the low fives. That's just an example. And in a lot of cases, there have been a lot of potential buyers that have kind of been priced out of that market. So obviously, if somebody can't afford as much, if the whole general market can't afford as much, the prices have to come down. And I think that the seller sentiment hasn't caught up to what's happening with the buyers right now, right? So a lot of these people that purchased condos in 2018, 2019, 2020 on variable rates that were renting them out, a lot of investors, downtown core, now they're cash flowing negatively. So they're not making their money back month over month. And these places are tenanted. They're trying to sell them. They can't sell them. They're changing the price. The price is coming down, and it's really difficult to sell a condo with a tenant in there anyways. So it seems like a lot of these sellers aren't really caught up with what's happening in the actual market. And that's why there's so many more listings. 1,700 more active condo listings in Toronto. If you're thinking about purchasing a condo, I think there'll be some great opportunities at amazing deals within the next 3 to 6 months. Once again, depending on what they do with interest rates. If the bank starts lowering the interest rates, everything's going to be crazy again. There will be a ton of activity. So, this is a good opportunity to purchase something, in my opinion, if you're keeping it between 3 and 5 years, 3 and 7 years, let's say. And I also wanted to read out this quote from the TREB president, Paul Barron, talking about kind of what's happening in this condo market and how it's kind of spilling over into the rental market. So the quote is, record population growth and a relatively resilient GTA economy have kept the overall demand for housing strong. However, more of that demand has been pointed at the rental market, as high borrowing costs and uncertainty on the direction of interest rates has seen many would-be homebuyers remain on the sidelines in the short term. When mortgage rates start trending lower, home sales will pick up quickly. Paul Barron, president of TREB. And I'm seeing that again. So a lot of people who were in the market to purchase, condos in the mid 500s to the mid 600s are now qualifying for much less, qualifying for high 400s, mid 500s. So they're down in qualification. And, if somebody can't buy what they want to buy right now, they are thinking about potentially renting. So that's why the rental market has been doing so well. Having said that, again, if all of these listings continue to stay on the market and don't get sold, lots of these condo prices are going to have to drop. And if they don't drop, some of these landlords or owners will have to rent them out. And then, the average the rental market rate will come down as well. So I don't know. It all depends on what the bank's going to do with these interest rates. I just found that quote interesting. There's another quote as well, which I wanted to mention. So this is from the TREB chief marketing analyst, Jason Mercer. And here's the quote. Competition between buyers remains strong enough to keep the average selling price above last year's level in October and above the cyclical lows experienced in the first quarter of this year. The Bank of Canada also noted this resilience in its October statement. However, home prices remain well below their record peak reached at the beginning of 2022, so lower home prices have mitigated the impact of higher borrowing costs to a certain degree. TREB chief marketing analyst Jason Mercer. So it's true, because people can't afford as much, prices have had to come down. Prices are coming down, so your purchase price is significantly lower than it was at the beginning of 2022. Even with the rates being higher, in some cases, it kind of balances itself out. So I just found that quote pretty interesting as well to kind of show what's happening with these prices. So now I want to talk about my experiences for a second and kind of how it's been for me within the last couple of months. It's been actually very, very busy. I have a bunch of active clients. I recently sold a condo. And this actually I wanted to mention because this is really important. I sold a condo at 205 Sherway Gardens, and we sold it in just over a week. Right now, there are currently 16 active condo listings in Sherway Gardens. So 205 to 235 Sherway Gardens in the same buildings. A lot of these places are stale and they've been sitting on the market for, a month, in some cases up to 3 months. And the reason I'm mentioning this is if you're thinking about selling a property, you have to sell with somebody that actually puts money and effort into selling this place. So let me tell you how I sold the Sherway Gardens condo. First of all, you have to get all the junk removed. Then you need a professional deep clean. Then you need the windows washed. Then we staged the place and accessorized the place. Then we had about 300 to 400 photos taken. The 40 best ones go on MLS. The rest go onto our website. Then we do a professional video. Then we do some drone videography as well, 3D tour. A bunch of print advertising gets done as well. And then we put a ton of money into Google advertisement, Facebook advertisement, Instagram ads, and TikTok. So if you look at, my video on Instagram, for example, of that unit, it's got a bunch of views, and we actually got 3 actual real buyers from those videos. We have a lot of leads that come in, but those are qualified buyers. So we didn't end up selling it to one of our own buyers. Another agent came in with an offer. But it just shows you, like, if you market a place correctly, if you list it, and if your sellers have realistic expectations as to where it should go in this current market, you will sell a property. If you're thinking about selling, like I said before, send me a message, click the link in this video and set up a call with me. I can tell you exactly how our selling process works and, how it works from start to finish. Or if you're not thinking about it quite yet, but you've thought about how much your home is worth, I can also provide you with a free home evaluation and highest price analysis in terms of what we can get for it right now. Again, this market changes all the time, so I'm not sure if that'll be the same thing next year. But yeah, I can provide you with a free home evaluation as well. And then on the other end, on the buy side, a couple of my buyers just purchased stuff this week. So literally I did a couple of deals this week. One on a really nice condo, a 3-bedroom condo in the West End, and then a really nice semi-detached property in the Beaches. So, there are really good deals to be had out there right now. So if you're thinking about buying something, you can also give me a call. Click the link and we can set up an appointment. I'd love to help you every step of the way. Once again, I'm going to do a video about some of my favorite sales, or just to kind of show you exactly which kinds of places are still getting a ton of attention and are selling on offer date with multiple offers way over asking. So I will be making that video as well. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten any value from this video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Thank you once again. Have a great day.